Howdy, y'all. Andy McCabe here with Claims Delegates. Had a really good conversation with a new client today. They're brand new in the business, and they asked some really good questions that I think everyone needs to hear the answers to. So, this was a good one, especially for you newbies out there. So, pay attention. Hello, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Hey.
Jason's going to be with us in just a second.
Okay, sounds good. Looks like beautiful weather where you guys are at.
It is. It's really nice.
Well, I can hear you better today. Yesterday I was having a heck of a time.
All right, we're on his iPad, so hopefully it works out good.
No, it's perfect. Perfect. All right, so let me back up. Let me find my notes for you. Where were you?
Oh, sorry about that.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're not in my system. You guys haven't signed up. So you're not an official client yet. Let's fix that. So you guys had some questions. What were your questions?
Okay, so like I told you yesterday, we landed our third job, and it's the bigger one out of the three. So I just jotted some notes down to ask you more about Xactimate. But I think the first question, the most important one is, what would you suggest on invoicing if we're doing a rebuild also? Should we just package it into one invoice, or should it be split up?
Split up.
Okay.
Split up. You're gonna want to treat that differently. You're gonna want to get paid. You're gonna want to get paid on your mitigation, your emergency services, well before you start your restoration. And if you package the same, you're not gonna. That's gonna prohibit you getting paid up front. So.
Okay.
So we thought. All right, that's a good answer.
So we still want to start the restoration. We don't want.
No.
I want to make sure I understand you.
No. Why would you do that? Why would you do that for free?
Don't start until we get paid for the first part.
Well, do you do credit checks
on the insurance company?
Do you do credit checks on your clients?
No.
What's your average rebuild?
This one's going to be about $30,000.
Do you routinely extend $30,000 of unsecured credit line?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. So you don't start. You don't start work until you get a deposit or some sort of agreement or contract in place.
We do have a contract.
Oh, I have a contract in place with them.
Do you have an estimate?
I put based on Xactimate rates.
Yeah, you want to stop doing that right now. You want to stop doing that yesterday.
Okay.
You're going to get your butt in a sling in a hurry, and you're just asking for someone to just not pay you and say, hey, you said you do it for whatever the insurance company paid, and they decided to pay 25 cents on the dollar, so that's what you're going to get. So you get that language right out of your contract, like today.
Okay.
We are not banks. We do not extend free credit. We only extend credit to those who deserve that. And how do you know that unless you're doing credit checks, right? Okay. I'm hitting you hard today because this is
it's fine.
Just getting started, and you guys need to know this before you get yourselves in a world of hurt. So you don't start a job, you don't swing a hammer until you get a deposit. You can't get a deposit until you write an estimate, right? And you can't get that money from the insurance company until that estimate is agreed upon. So you've got quite a lead time before you can swing one hammer or start anything. Everyone in the process is going to say, when can you start? Can you start tomorrow? Can you get going? But very few of those people are going to be able to write a check for that.
Okay.
They're going to write a check for, if you've got a $30,000 estimate and your client, keep in mind, the insurance company is not your client. Your client says, sure, I'll give you, here's $10,000 check. Get started. That's a different story.
Okay.
Very few people do that.
Okay. All right. Good tip. Wonderful. All right. What's next?
Okay. So we noticed that just by reading threads about basic service charges, and now that Xactimate changed over to the, what do you call it? The labor
minimums.
Labor minimums. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out how I could add in a labor minimums without it showing on the invoice.
Why?
So it would be factored into the line items.
Why?
We were just reading on the threads that we should do that. Since to get paid.
Understand the labor minimum and the base service charges, as it used to be called. They're made to compensate for very small claims that don't have necessarily. You might have, let's say, you have a really small claim, and you got to replace one outlet, right? And Xactimate wants to give you $45. The base service charge or the labor minimum was to compensate for that because they're aware that you can't get an electrician to start his truck for $45, let alone drive across town and do anything for you. In the reality, it just causes more headache. So, I would, instead of using those charges, which are contentious, I would use labor charges, or I'd use sub bids. If it's truly that small of a job, call up your electrician, your plumber, whatever, and say, hey, what's it going to cost you to replace this plug? And he's going to say, well, $250 because that's my minimum to start my truck. And you say, okay, $250 per sub bid. That's what you put in your estimate.
Okay, for that line item. Okay, and then so now I'm going into general section on the invoice and the Xactimate. So I would put down setup, monitor, and take down. That goes under general with the labor hours and emergency call line item. Is that correct? To do it under general and not split it up into their. That's what I do. Okay, so
style points.
Yeah. Okay. So on setup and monitor, I understood at first on the first invoice that I had, we had 2 people after hours for 8 hours. So I was charging 16 hours of emergency call, and I understood that we should only bill for about 2 hours on emergency call.
Why?
That's what the adjusters tried to tell me. That I should bill for 6 hours.
Who's your client?
And I do have an adjuster. That's one of my, from a family, a cousin, that is an adjuster, and he told me to bill for 16 hours. But they kept saying that that's not right to do that. On the emergency service call line item.
Who's your client?
Our client was.
That was the client.
That was.
They didn't use insurance on that one.
Yeah, they didn't use insurance on that one.
Then it's a T&M bill according to your contract.
T&M bill?
Time and material. It's time and material. What did it take you? If it took you 16 man hours after hours, that's what you bill for.
Okay, but this is for the service call item.
Service call. So they're saying don't use the service call?
No, they said I could only bill for 2 hours on the service, the emergency service call line item.
Emergency service call is an individual item. It's an each. It's not an hourly item. So you charge for 16 emergency service calls?
Yeah, I was supposed to charge for 1, right?
Yeah.
That's what
you want to put your labor hours somewhere.
Yeah, I did.
That's not what that line item is used for.
Okay, and on labor items, I divide, if I have like an extractor, so I have a labor extract technician, and then I also have a labor cleaning technician, right? That's separate. So I bill only for the hours that for labor extracting technician, I only bill for the hours that the personnel was extracting the water. I don't bill from the hour that they left their house.
Are you using Xactimate or time and material? Xactimate. Okay, because you don't confuse the two, and you can't mix the two. Never the two shall meet. The Xactimate line item for extraction includes labor.
That's right. Okay. All right. I thought I didn't. From what I
read the description of the line item.
Yeah, I did. I might be mixing it up with something else now. But okay, so on the labor for an extracting for a technician extractor, do I charge from the moment they left the house, or do I charge from just the hours that they extracted the water?
I'm confused. I'm not clear on the question. Are you talking, do you charge technician time for travel or okay.
That's part of the setup and travel, right? The setup, take down and monitor. The travel goes in there.
It can. Yeah. That's one way to do it. Yeah. You could go straight hourly as well. I'm confused by your use of the word extraction. So you're trying
the technician extract. There's a line item for an extracting water extraction technician.
The labor item.
Yes, under the labor item.
Okay. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right. You see me?
Yep.
You see my window here?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if this picks up. Oh, that's in the wrong window. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that. I'm going to reshare the proper window. Where is it? Where are you? There you are. Share screen.
I guess the question is, do I charge for a technician from the moment that they went on the job, on the moment they got called on, or do I only charge for the hours that they're on site extracting the actual water?
Well, if you're using, where's my extraction? Here we go. If you are using, let's use the carpet one. This line item, WTR EXT, water extraction from carpeted floor.
Okay.
That's a per square foot.
That's right. That's not
item,
per That's
not per minute or hour.
Okay.
So you can't charge that for travel time because it just doesn't work.
That's right.
You charge travel time, your WTR LIB.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, WTR LAB. Okay, so yeah, you can charge travel time, charge whatever it takes. Or what's that right now? What price list am I on? Whatever, $60 an hour. Mm-hmm. Or, okay, it's the same price. So the LAB is $60.94. The equipment setup and takedown $60.94. I think technically you're better off charging travel time with the LAB.
That's what I thought. Because then they try, from what I understand from the last two jobs, they try to knock down the setup and monitor and take time to about an hour at the most, too.
Well, I do generally, as a rule, unless I have time cards, I do 2 hours a day for monitoring.
Okay.
Now
that's just monitoring. What about the setup?
Well, you charge the setup, whatever it took you, and then you charge 2 hours a day for monitoring, and then you charge, I usually throw another couple hours at the back end for takedown. So if it's a 4-day job, for example, I do it like this, 4 times 2. And I'll go down here, and I'll go 4-day drying, setup, monitoring, and take down. That's what I'll do. So day 1, you set it up for 2 hours. Day 2 and 3, you monitored. Day 4, you monitored and took it down. Period.
Okay.
All right. Stop.
Now on the, I have a quick question on that. So on setup, like this last job we had, I think it had 19 fans and 5 DUs XL. You know, it did take more than 2 hours for setup because most of it was just power management, trying to run cords and figure out how to power all that equipment in a small space. I only had 2 hours. So
hopefully you put a power box there and split it up.
We did.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
For power box, you didn't tell me that.
Oh, sorry. Okay, we're learning.
Are you guys using the 24-hour tech?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's a shameless.
Oh, lost you.
This made my day. This made this last job so.
Oh, I lost you again. Where'd you guys go? Come back to me. There you are. Okay. So you just used it in this last job. Is that what I heard?
This was my first one. I begged Aviel to hurry up and buy it. And I love it. It's like I said, I'm a pilot, and the checklist is awesome. So.
Yes. Yeah. We got to have checklists, and your techs need checklists. It makes it a lot easier. So you take that package, you ship it over to me. I'm writing your MIT estimates in 15 minutes. I mean, it's just that quick.
Okay.
So, all right.
And what have you talked about this on what charges? So what? How does that work for us?
I charge $145 an hour with a not to exceed of 2% of the value of the estimate or the invoice. But at that rate, 15, 20 minutes to write a MIT sheet, it's costing you $35-$40. It's a no-brainer.
Okay.
That'd be a good, yeah. I mean,
and that way Aviel can concentrate on other things instead of trying to learn how to do Xactimate better.
Okay.
All right. It's a learning curve. You're right. And okay, so for the purposes of invoicing from Xactimate, the report that I want to generate, what would be the best report to generate?
I use a rough draft, and
just the rough draft?
I advocate using whatever invoicing program you have separate, and you use the Xactimate as an attachment or
that's what
illustration. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I did. I put a main invoice that I created, and then underneath the attachment was the Xactimate rough draft that I had printed out and generated.
Yep. Yep.
And at the end, what about late fees on due dates for an invoice?
That's your company policy. What's it say in your contract? I'm a big fan of late fees.
I'm not sure. We probably need to add that in the contract.
I'm a huge fan. That's the only thing that gives teeth to your invoice. That and the threat of a lien. Neither one of those do you want to give up, because that's the only leverage we have as contractors. If you can't lien it and you can't collect late fees, what incentive do they have to pay you on time?
All right. So what is the general rule of thumb? Like 15 days after 15 days is a late fee, or 30 days?
It's, once again, you're asking an Xactimate estimator with 20 years experience what the average is. And it's you can't, it's your business. It's, I can't tell you that anymore than I can tell you what to charge for an air mover every day. I can tell you that you're probably not charging enough for an air mover because the price hasn't changed in Xactimate for a long time. So have you been in the Rebel group at all? The Restoration Rebel group? Yes,
we are in that.
Okay.
And on Facebook.
Yes. So
yes, a friend added us in there.
If you've been in there for any amount of time, you've seen that we don't take any shit. And we have a very particular approach to the market, which is our client comes first, and we get to say what we charge when we charge it. We are self-determining our destinies as contractors, because that's what we are. We're contractors. We're not property damage experts. We're freaking contractors, and that's how we're going to operate our businesses. We're going to go get clients. We're going to service those clients. We're going to charge those clients fairly for what we do. And for the most part, we act as if the insurance company doesn't exist. The only reason we use Xactimate is out of a courtesy to the adjusters and insurance companies, because that's the only language they understand. But it's not a requirement. We could write our invoices on napkins. We could do 100 different things. We just need to break our industry out of this mindset that there's one way to do it and we have to do it this particular way so the adjuster can buy off on it. We have a client, we service a client, we bill accordingly, period. And the insurance company has a problem with that. Well, they've got a problem with their client because we're not the insured. Sorry, I'm getting on a soapbox here. What else you got?
What's the best way to make sure they don't try to cut down on our labor hours? Because
stand your ground. Stand your ground and document it. Document it. If you're doing a 24-hour tech, you have a piece of paper. This is when we arrived on site. This is when we left the site, right? You have it documented. You've also got pictures to back up. Hey, here's a timestamp here's a timestamp before and after. This is how many hours we spent on the job site. This is how many bodies.
Time standpoints are probably the best thing to do with pictures.
Yeah. Okay. And they say, anytime you hear, well, that's not normal, we
I hear that all.
That. Well, that is normal, and they do pay for that. They just don't want to. And what's normal is their pet contractors doing whatever they can to go get another claim. And these program guys what the program guys don't understand is they're losing money on every job and trying to make it up on volume. That's not a winning formula. And if you go into every job with the mindset that, I'm going to have to give up 20% of this, what's it going to cause you to do? You're going to fluff it by 20% or 25%. And that's just dishonest.
Yeah.
And that's not how I operate my life, let alone my business. So yeah, we just got to break out of that mindset. And there's no one way to do anything. There are certain best practices, but whether you want to put your labor hours in general conditions or you want to put them in the individual rooms,
okay.
That's not going to make or break a claim.
Yeah, that takes us into overhead and profit that I meant to ask you at the beginning.
Sure.
So I just understand different angles on this. One is that overhead and profit, I understand they don't have to pay at all. And then
who doesn't have to pay?
The insurance companies.
Why? I'm going to ask that question a lot. Why? Why do you say that? Who said that?
Okay, this comes from a friend that's an adjuster.
Mm-hmm.
He said if you're not a general contractor, and in Missouri you don't have to have a general contractor license. We're in Missouri. He said that it's easier for them to say we're not paying it. He said you can always take it to arbitration, but still, it's easier for them not to pay it.
Are you running a business?
We are.
Does a business have overhead?
It does.
Does a business require a profit at the end of the year?
It does. So the question is what can be the answer to them trying to deny us from
I advocate, if you're doing rebuilds, it's a no-brainer. It's stupid to deny overhead and profit on reconstruction. It takes a contract.
Because we do have the phrase.
Yeah. Well, get that mindset out. It doesn't have anything to do with three trades. It has to do with running a contractor business. You're a contractor. You have certain overhead. You have to make a profit. Mm-hmm. No jury in the world is going to say, you're not a licensed general contractor in your state, so you don't have a profit. You don't need to make a profit. You don't have business overhead. So on rebuild, you charge it every time. Okay. On mitigation, I advocate you change your price list and build it in. Hide it.
Okay. That's okay. All right.
And I do that. I create those price lists for folks every day.
So then if I do that, they're just going to come back and like, hey, your price list doesn't match our price list.
You don't have a price match guarantee.
Okay, so
do you have a price match guarantee? Do you say, whatever service master charges, I will charge?
That already came up.
I'm sure it did. It always does.
They had the first client we built them, and they got one of the big kind of discount places here, and they got them to review our bill and then submit what the bill should be. which was, I think, about a quarter.
It's got no bearing
Right.
on reality. It's got no bearing on what you charge your client.
Right.
You've got an opportunity now to set a tone. You're 3 jobs in. You get to determine how you want to be viewed in your market. And if you want to be viewed as the rollover discount contractor, that's your choice. That's not the choice I would make. You want to be viewed as the contractor that takes care of clients, has happy clients, verified with 5-star reviews from every single client you've ever serviced. Stand your ground, bill accordingly, make money so you can survive to next year. Because here's a little insight on the rain world. They're imploding because their guys are not making enough money. They're just scrambling right now to sell franchises because they're losing franchisees because their franchisees are going bankrupt.
Because they're taking cut prices, yeah.
Why would they be going bankrupt if their model works? Why are they going bankrupt? Because they're giving it away. They don't have to. So I don't care what ServiceMaster or Rainbow or anyone else said they'll do it for. They don't have a contract. They don't have a contract with my client. I'm the only one that has a contract with my client. My contract, and you might need to work on this, should have a schedule of fees. So your client agrees on day one, oh, this is what you're charging. You're going to charge me for all these things? Okay, that seems reasonable. Here's my signature. Boom.
Honestly, on these 3 jobs, no one has requested an estimate when we got there. So we had them sign, and then we started to work.
Yeah, you don't need an estimate per se, but you definitely want to give them some sort of heads up so they can go after the fact, what did I just sign? Oh, this is why this is a $5,000 bill, because you said right here you're going to charge me $30 a day for an air mover and $150 a day for a dehumidifier, and these are your hourly rates. Okay, I can do the math myself and go, okay, this is reasonable. If you've got right now what sounds like an insurance proceeds contract, it's not really a valid contract, because what's it take to have a valid contract? You've got to have consideration, and you've got to have a number. Right now you've got a zero. I don't know what I'm going to charge you, but I'm going to charge you something. That's not really a value. It's, no court in the land is going to side with you on that. They're going to side with the client, the homeowner, saying, well, you got him into a contract that was kind of wishy-washy, that was open-ended. Well, we don't believe in open-ended contracts. So
we do need to have a number.
You got to put a schedule. Well, you got to put a schedule of fees in there.
Oh, okay. So I can just print out the price list.
Well, if you want to put 5,000 line items in there, sure.
Let me ask you this. Can you point us in the direction to get a good contract?
Yes. Yeah. Spend some time in a group. There's several floating around.
Okay.
They're in the file section of the Restoration Rebel group.
That's on Facebook, right? The Rebel group, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm pretty sure we're in that one. Do you have to be invited in, or?
You have to be accepted. You got to answer questions. Yes,
I'm pretty sure we are in that. Yeah. It might be a different one that I'm mistaken, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then I would go to restorationadvisors.com. Restoration Advisors, ERS, not ORS. Clark Brown will hook you up with real solid bulletproof contracts and SOPs. Okay. He's a consultant from the group. We're actually doing some courses together. We're going to LA next month.
All right.
So I don't get into the contract legal side of it. He does more of that.
Okay, so that's at restorationadvisors.com. Okay, so what do you suggest about this estimate that we're currently working on? Should we maybe send it your way, or what do you suggest?
It's your call, but it sounds like you might have quite an education just looking at what I might develop.
Okay.
And then you can look after that. You can look and say, all right, is this something I want to continue to do myself, or wow, there's a lot in there that I didn't think about, or I wouldn't have known to do it that way. And then you make the call. Okay, was it worth my time to learn this at a deep level so I can get paid, or do I want to ship offshore it? You know my answer. Obviously.
I think we agree on your answer.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all in place already. I'm sure you can find a lot more to do with it. But I can also send you the estimate that I came up with, and then of course your mitigation checklist, so you can.
Yeah, the room notes is the most important piece of that. Like I said, you give me 5 sheets. You got one. You did do one sheet per room, correct? Or there's 3 rooms on each sheet.
Yeah, there's 3 rooms on each sheet. Yeah. And then now listen, this is my first checklist, so I'm a rookie. My next one's going to be a lot better. I'm figured out mistakes I've made, but I did put multiple rooms on the floor plan and moisture map, which I'm
that's
not
fine. No, that's fine if they fit.
Because some of them are just a bathroom, a hallway, and then I numbered out all my fans and DUs and air scrubbers.
Perfect. Now, is this one you're going to turn into a repair job?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I got the contract signed before the adjuster had it. The second job we had, the adjuster showed up and they right away just poo-pooed us to the client, and they let us do extraction, which was a joke. We shouldn't have even been there extracting. And then said, well, that's enough. We don't need anything else. I mean, and I heard through the grapevine, it turned into a $5 million job. So
wow.
It was well over our head to begin with, but I want to make sure the adjuster doesn't have the time to come, tell the client about this really good guy that he by chance got back from a fishing trip in Alaska last week. And so I did get a contract on the rebuild before the adjuster got there.
Okay.
On this last one
here.
Okay.
But this is what I've got so far is just for the mitigation.
All right. Perfect. Well, yeah.
So you would suggest getting a deposit down before we start rebuilding on this one?
Or get it. Yeah.
Well, at least get a number agreed to.
And then, okay, great. All right.
Yeah,
do you do those do you do the rebuild?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. I mean, you were looking at, I don't know if you saw I'll do a little braggadocious here. So this is my project list, my recent project list. 22,000, 11,000, 8,000, 24,000, 480,000. That one's actually going to turn to $1 million next week. Yeah. So I do it all.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Up to it's 145 an hour. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Up to maximum.
Not to exceed 2%. Right now I'm running at a rate of just a hair over 1%. The hardest part is the jobs that are really small. The small jobs are hard to squeeze under that. So technically I have a $299 minimum. The clients that use me all the time, I don't even adhere to that minimum anymore.
All right.
It's pretty straightforward.
Okay. The idea was for me to do the Xactimate so I can really learn, and not learn the hard way and not just, hand it out to someone and then I never learn.
At this point, you're going to be able to, even if you use me for one, you're going to learn more looking at what I come up with for you. It's going to just flatten out that learning curve for you.
Yeah, exactly. So I've learned enough, I think, in the past month and a half that now I can, use you as a good tool to work together and learn more, or just hand it over to you, and then I can focus on other things.
You're going to get the ESX file, so you're going to have the digital file in Xactimate. So it's yours to do with what you please.
So we only use the mobile app from Xactimate. I don't know. It feels like
you have a subscription to the Pro version?
No, I just have the mobile subscription. You suggest doing the desktop, the whole thing, $30 more? I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be more useful for you.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that now because I did do the demo for the first month, and there was a lot more I could do online or on the desktop than I could on the app.
Yeah, and there's even the online version versus the desktop. There's so much more you can do on the desktop than the online.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, for example, I just had somebody on the phone and he's saying, man, he's frustrated with the online version. He's like, I can't do this, can't do that. And I said, well, can you open up two estimates and copy and paste from one to the other? And he's like, no, I can't do that. I'm like, I know.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We'll see you guys in the group, and I'll send you some new client information. How about that?
Yeah, perfect. And then I'll send you some stuff back so we can start working.
Perfect.
If you're available and have time.
I do. Take care, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.